Do you ever look around your home and think, we don't have a situation anymore? This is closing in on a 4-alarm fire of mess. Nobody's actually calling the fire department, but emotionally, it's very close. I'm going to show you a method for how to get your house under control or back under control without a ton of work. Here is what happened to me. We had been away, there had been birthdays, life had piled up in a way that it does when you're not home to catch all of these things as it happened. And when I came back, not only did I have like the messy house with stuff everywhere, but I was overwhelmed. I work from home. There was a bunch of life stuff that had to happen too. And I knew that something had to give. Now, as a former ER nurse, I drew upon one of the things that I have put into my mighty method, and that is triage. In this case, though, I came up with a way to take our homes back very quickly, and I call that the dash method. Now, the very first part of the mighty method is triage, and that means we're not trying to fix everything, which is good news for those of us who have everything. It means doing the next right thing and fast and moving on to whatever is next after that. So we're not just like tackling everything. We're doing like the one thing that's going to make the best impact for us right now. So I call this the dash method, which sounds athletic, and it is not, because I am not. We're just picking up socks here. I'm getting into the dash method, what to do, what to avoid, and how to go deeper. Here's the entire rule. And it really is this simple. Every time you walk past something that maybe is out of place, you make it better in a dash. Maybe you step away for a break from work. You find something to quickly make better. Fast, not a project, not a second, a dash. If you've created a Pinterest board, we have lost control. And this isn't a whole home weekly cleaning routine in the way that we are used to talking about them, or that I often do on this channel, because I've done many routines. There's no list. There's no designated time blocking. You're not sitting down at 4 p.m. to do the dash method the way that you might block out a Saturday for your deep clean or your regular methods. No fancy calendars required with highlighters. Instead, this is a reflex. It's almost impossible to plan. You're already walking through the kitchen on your way to work, or you're already stepping away from your desk for 2 minutes. And instead of walking past the mess or scrolling through your phone for those 2 minutes, you just fix one small thing on your way through. That is the whole method. And I know it's almost too simple to work. And that is exactly why it does work. Here is where this actually came from. So here is my house after a few days of recovery. I had already done laundry, we had already been doing things, unpacking, whatever, but there were still lots of things needed to be done. And I felt behind in the way that the house needed real attention, or things were going to spiral real bad again. And I truly did not have an afternoon anywhere on the calendar to give to it. I probably would have taken longer than that. I had work to do. I work from home. You might not work from home, but I will get into that. But I had a full day ahead of me. I had salsa to make, zucchini to freeze. August zucchini waits for no woman. And I also knew that this was no time to dilly-dally on Instagram, because I am a man of action. So every time I needed a break from work, and you do need breaks, that's not optional. Your brain requires them whether or not you schedule them. So take that break, but skip the Instagram. I would go out and I would dash a job quickly. I would put something away. I would wipe one counter. I would deal with one pile. I would take something out to the recycling, and then I would get straight back to work. I wouldn't get sucked in for long, because I know, and I mean, because I could be like, now we're in cleaning mode, but no, like I have work, I had to get back to work. And I was looking at my jars of antipasto on the counter, and I was like, I will come back to this. For now, I have to dash back to work. My triage had said that those jars were stable. They could wait, because my house can reset fast when the jobs are small, and this actually works really well. Now, I was not trying to solve the whole 4-alarm fire in one trip outside of my office. I was putting out one spark and then going back to what I was doing. And by the end of the day, I hadn't spent a single dedicated hour cleaning, but somehow several small dashes had added up. I even wash my jars and put them away before bed. One before bed dash, which, if you work outside of the home, that's what you can do. Character growth for sure. Now, the next day I got back to it. There were no deadlines, but I knew I could quickly recover just by getting the dashes in here and there. That is recovery mode, and that is exactly when the dash method earns its place. It's not as your everyday maintenance at all. No, no, no. This is the thing you reach for when you are digging out of a backlog and of a full clean day is just simply unavailable to you. Here's how it works in practice. It looks a little bit different depending on your day. So we're gonna go through a couple of different scenarios. So maybe you're like me and you work from home. You have natural break points built right into your day. Maybe you just haven't been using them this way. So maybe a call ends, or your computer for some reason is like, I need to update now. And you're like, well, I definitely have a few minutes here. Or perhaps you just need to stretch your legs anyway. Instead of that becoming a scroll window or an opportunity to go and eat some chips in the pantry, it becomes a dash window. You just walk to one area, 2 minutes, one object, done, back to your desk. Maybe you don't work at home, but you are home. So you could use the opportunity of when, maybe you're waiting for water to boil, or for to make a phone call, or some other random thing. Just walk by the thing, do something, take whatever needs to go where it's got to go, or whatever else you're doing, and then move on to the next thing, back to whatever you were doing. Now, if you work outside of the home, your dashes are actually going to look a little bit different. Instead of them being scattered throughout the day, you're going to have them more a little more concentrated to the ends of the day, the bookends of the day. So before you start work, you might quickly do a dash on your way downstairs to make breakfast, or maybe just before you go out the door, you take something from the kitchen to the garage. A few minutes before bed. Small moments that don't require you to find extra time that you don't have. You're just repurposing the time you're already spending, but just more efficiently, and you're getting good results. If you have little kids around, that is different. You can get the kids involved. Maybe carrying that kid with you to go and recycle something, and just make sure you bring the kid back in the house. This is one of the more firmer rules. The recycling stays out there, the kid comes back. And remember, we don't need to rush. This can take days, weeks, whatever, just as long as we're moving forward, progress, not perfection. Now, if you're standing in a room right now and you're feeling completely defeated by it, don't stand in the door absorbing the whole scene at once, because that's how overwhelm wins. Never make eye contact with the room. Set a short timer, maybe 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever. One room, dash through it, and when the timer goes off, you stop. No requirement to finish. This is housekeeping. This is not life and death. No guilt about what is still sitting there. You showed up, you dashed, that's the win. Across every one of these patterns, it is the same. The dash is a time boxed and object small situation here. We're never committing to clean the whole kitchen. You're committing to put this thing away right now, on my way past it, and then moving on with life. Here's the piece underneath all of this that makes it more than just a cute name for tidying, and why it actually works. Every object sitting out of place in your home is a small open loop. Now, I have talked about this before in my open loop method. These loops are something your brain is tracking in the background, whether you are consciously thinking about it or not. The mail on the counter, the pile by the door, or that one drawer you have been meaning to get to for 2 weeks, or since 2022, who's counting? But your brain doesn't forget about unfinished things. It holds them running in the background, like a computer with many extra things running that it doesn't need to, using up energy that you have wanted to save for something and not stressing about the house. Why are we wasting our energy thinking about the house? At Dash, it's not just about tidying. We are closing one of those loops in passing without needing an entire dedicated session to do it. And that is exactly why 5 2-minute dashes throughout a day can feel so much more relieving than staring down a 2-hour deep clean that you keep postponing on the calendar. You're closing loops as you go instead of just letting them stack up with that 4-alarm fire that we started with, and feeling better every single loop that you close. Don't make these mistakes, because a dash only works if it stays a dash. So here are the boundaries that keep it one. A dash is small on purpose. One object, one surface, one drawer, one small little task. The moment you catch yourself thinking, I'll just quickly clean this closet while I'm here, no, you're going to put that hanger down. That's not a dash anymore. That is a project that we are now pretending is a dash, and she gets too feisty for that. A dash has a natural exit point. The break ends, the timer goes off, you walk away. There's no guilt ever attached to stopping, because that is how it is designed. You weren't supposed to finish the room. You were supposed to just make it slightly better than it was 30 seconds ago. The dashes are built for momentum and not for depth. If you notice yourself elbow deep in a drawer, pulling everything out to reorganize it properly, stop and finish that another day. That's a real task, and it deserves its own real time. The dash's entire job is keeping the 4-alarm fire from spreading while you're too busy to fight it properly. Here's how to actually put this to use today. Pick your natural break points. Work breaks, meal prep windows, walking from the car to the front door. Is there a pop can that a teenager left outside? The few minutes before bed. You already have these moments in your day. You're just spending them scrolling or standing still. And I am very good at standing. So we're just going to attach one dash to each thing. No list required. This is just so simple. You just look at whatever is directly in front of you right at that moment and fix that one thing, one tiny little thing, boo. Medical advice, and give yourself the permission that makes this more sustainable. A dash doesn't have to fix the whole room. It just has to be better than it was 30 seconds ago. That is the entire bar, and it's a bar you can clear even on your worst, most overwhelmed day. In one line, every time you walk by, make it better. In a dash. It won't put out a fire in one trip, like one big giant water bomber drops out water, but a dozen small dashes throughout your day will put it out faster than waiting for a free afternoon that may not show up for weeks or years. Now, I told you this works because it closes open loops, and I only scratched the surface of what that actually means. You need to understand exactly why unfinished tasks drain you the way that they do, and to see the specific system straight out of hospital housekeeping that I myself have witnessed. That closes the loop permanently, room by room. You need to watch this video right here where I explain that. It's the piece that makes everything in this video make sense on a whole different level. I hope something great happens for you today. Please like, subscribe, give us a hype. Stay tidy and mighty. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.